Hi, I'm Sajit. I'm a soul guide and a spiritual mentor. I use insights from astrology to assist with that guidance. And today I want to share with you about what's going on in the sky in the signs of Virgo and Pisces because it's affecting a lot of us, and on a collective level as well as a personal level, it's offering tremendous opportunities for really deep healing on many levels, on physical levels, psychological, emotional levels, environmental, and also spiritually. These themes that are going on have really come into focus since the fall of 2015 and will be in effect through the spring of 2017 with the eclipses happening in those signs of Pisces and Virgo. And also, there's an opposition going on between Jupiter in Virgo and Chiron in Pisces. And that opposition will be exact 3 times. The first time it was exact was on November 3rd of 2015. Then the second time will be on February 23rd of 2016. And the third and final time will be in August 12th of 2016. So we have lots of opportunities to do our healing personally and collectively. And if you're new to astrology, don't let these details get in your way. Just allow the images that will be coming up in this video to speak to you on an intuitive level. We'll start by taking a look at the themes related to the signs of Virgo and Pisces. Virgo, think about Virgo like a virgin forest. In that virgin forest, it hasn't been logged, there's no pollution. The forest is in its whole, pure, natural, essential state. And so Virgo really has the urge, the desire to be of service and to help to improve things and to bring them back to their natural state of wholeness. Now, every sign and every aspect in astrology has its less evolved expression and more evolved expression. The less evolved expression of Virgo is getting overly focused on wanting everything to be perfect and feeling like you're not good enough or not smart enough or not whatever enough. And there's this inner critic that's always telling us that, we should be perfect and we're not perfect. And it can be very harsh, the inner critic, and very rigid in that desire to have everything be perfect. But it's really not about perfection, it's about wholeness. And so Virgo really, in its more evolved expression, wants to be of service. And in that service, it wants to bring about healing into wholeness. It wants to help things to bring them back to their natural state, and is very good at getting things organized and cleaned up and improved. Virgo can have very good judgment and very good boundaries, very discerning. And all of that is about bringing things or bringing yourself back to your essential wholeness. Now, with that less evolved expression of Virgo, there can be this constant focus on what's wrong with this picture. And Pisces being directly opposite, the opposite energy, Pisces is about seeing that things are already perfect and whole and complete on the spiritual level. Pisces sees our oneness and our holiness. And it's very intuitive, imaginative, creative, poetic. And there's the ability to really release and let go and trust into the divine, and really experience a sense of union with the divine. And that mystical union is a direct experience of God or of oneness. Now, Pisces also has its less evolved expression, and that same energy that can be used for mysticism can also be misty or foggy and lead to lots of feelings of confusion or loss of boundaries and not really knowing who we are as a unique individual self. And with this less evolved expression of Pisces and this foggy confusion and loss of boundaries, there can also be a sense of loss and pain and disappointment. And that can lead to escapism, whether that's through fantasy or addictions. But there can be, rather than a desire to experience oneness and the awakeness of that, there can be an escape into the oblivion of losing oneself through addictions. So now let's take a look at what is the most evolved expression of both of those signs and how they can integrate together. So Virgo, again, is about bringing things back to wholeness, and Pisces wants to allow us to experience a sense of oneness, which could also be an experience of our holiness. And so that is the highest integration of Pisces and Virgo. And that's what is the opportunity available to us right now, is to really experience true healing, both on the personality level, and the personality involves the body and the mind and the emotions, and also healing on the spiritual level, healing our sense of separation from each other and our sense of being separate from God, and being able to experience true oneness. Now let's consider how the planets come into play. The planet Jupiter is in Virgo, opposite Chiron in Pisces. These two planets can polarize and fight against each other, or they can work together to our benefit. While Jupiter can exaggerate and be excessive, when it's in Virgo, we can be hypercritical and judgmental toward others or toward ourselves. And the inner critic can be overwhelming. We may experience feelings of guilt or shame, feeling that there's something basically wrong with us. Jupiter in Virgo can be obsessed with cleanliness or overzealous on a mission to fix things, while believing that you know the right way to fix things and others don't. Donald Trump is an example of a person who's on a mission to fix things with an extreme solution: get rid of Muslims and Mexican immigrants. The more evolved expression of Jupiter in Virgo is clear and practical about how to clean things up without being dogmatic, self-righteous, or self-abusive. We currently have an environmental crisis with toxic drinking water in Flint, Michigan. Jupiter in Virgo can help us come up with a realistic and effective way to resolve the crisis. Perhaps it's Jupiter in Virgo that inspires the crusade against Monsanto, so we can stop contaminating our food supply. Organic foods, healthy diet, and lifestyle are high on Jupiter and Virgo's priority list. On a psychological level, the quest for wholeness helps us integrate all the different parts of ourselves into a more harmonious whole. Now let's look at Chiron in the sign of Pisces. Chiron is often called the wounded healer, and it heals not just other people, but it's also about self-healing and helping us to realign what has come out of alignment within ourselves. Think of Chiron as being from the same root word as chiropractor. Another way to think about Chiron's process is about helping us to correct a misperception that we have. The wounds that Chiron brings our attention to may be very deep and unconscious. Chiron is now bringing old wounds into our awareness so that they can be healed. These wounds that are related to Chiron and Pisces are the same kinds of themes that we talked about with the less evolved expression of Pisces. Being unclear about your sense of self, which may involve a lack of boundaries, being gullible or easily deceived or taken advantage of, and then feeling like a victim. Or there may be feelings of longing for some unreachable ideal or fantasy, which can lead to feelings of disappointment, disillusionment, or even despair. And the desire to escape from these painful feelings can lead to escapism and addictions. But these very wounds that may be inflamed right now can also be healed through Pisces' compassion and forgiveness, and with a strong dose of Virgo's finer qualities, discernment, pragmatism, clear boundaries, and commitment to healthy routines. Chiron in Pisces is excellent for forms of healing that use subtle energy, like Reiki or sound healing, shamanism and non-ordinary states of consciousness, like hypnosis. As a spiritual healer, Chiron reminds us of our innocence and holiness because we are children of God. Now let's talk about Saturn. Saturn's in Sagittarius, and that means that it's making a square or a 90-degree angle to the Pisces-Virgo axis. The less evolved expression of Saturn in Sagittarius is to be digging your heels in a self-righteous, dogmatic, fanatic way, like a preacher or missionary, a politician who's very overzealous and dogmatic. And this can lead to taking an extremist approach to connecting the Virgo process of fixing things with the Pisces process that brings us either to union with God or makes us escape into oblivion. One example of how a less evolved expression of Saturn in Sagittarius in this square to the Pisces-Virgo axis might play out. That would be what we're seeing with Muslim extremists, terrorists, suicide bombers, who think that they will get to heaven through their actions, through killing themselves. The more evolved expression of Saturn in Sagittarius is the wise elder, the diplomat, the spiritual leader or teacher or philosopher who can provide clear direction and an understanding of universal truth, again, without being dogmatic or overzealous. This wisdom can then be applied to the Virgo-Pisces axis to bring about healing and a return to wholeness of body, mind, and spirit. Last but not least, the Uranus-Pluto square has been inciting revolution and the dismantling of the old paradigm since 2008. This aspect of the Pluto-Uranus square is now connected to the Jupiter-Chiron opposition because Jupiter is quincunx to Uranus and trine Pluto. So again, for those of you new to astrology, don't worry about all the astrobabble. As we weave together all of these astrological influences, here are some possible outcomes. On the less evolved side, there can be messianic missions which may end in failure and or bring about further wounding. There may be the perpetuation of our wounds through harsh criticism and self-abuse and or the descent into addictions and other forms of escapism. On the contrary, we may experience deep healing of our personal and collective wounds. Maybe we'll clean up the planet and start living healthier lives. Maybe we'll find skillful means to heal our addictions. And perhaps we'll realize that we are truly all one, and then address the world's problems with a combination of compassion and practical solutions. The outcomes depend on each of us. What are you doing to move toward greater wholeness and healthiness? Are you learning to trust, let go, and let God? How might you be part of the solution to the ills of our world? How can you bring more love and compassion into this moment? The energies of Pisces and Virgo are here to assist us.